Can I get the presentation? All right. Very quickly, what we heard so far from various speakers. You need a solid, strong foundation to be able to create a technology backbone, right? And whatever we are doing today, I think so far we talked about how AI is crucial for hyper-personalization or any kind of digital delivery for our consumers. And what do really AI require? It requires huge amount of data. And that data needs to be available for AI training, at one point in inferencing and stuff like that. So how do you create a very agile infrastructure to be able to train and then deploy your AI models? And this is where what IBM point of view is, you really require a hybrid cloud infrastructure to be able to do this, to achieve these objectives. Use cases, we heard about these use cases around credit scoring, fraud detection, regulatory compliance, hyper-personalization. Developer velocity is something much more important now, right? And cost optimization and agility. There are various use cases which need to be addressed. Would there be only one silver bullet to address all of this? Not necessarily, right? But hybrid cloud and AI very likely can take you in the journey to address many of these concerns that we talked in this case. One thing that we know, AI is not really completely new. AI that predicts AI, that chart was there for a pretty long time. Last 2-3 years, we're talking about generative AI to be able to create or context-aware discussions and stuff like that. And now the world moves towards agentic AI, wherein it's not just about one activity or one answer. Getting things done is what agentic AI is all about, right? This is a gradual movement of the technology to be able to address the requirement. And the concerns that we also raised so far is around data privacy, AI bias, cloud lock-in, because if you create a much larger infrastructure, how do we be able to move your workload from one cloud to the other cloud, or maybe bring it back for, let's take an example of cloud repatriation. How do you bring it back so that you don't have a lock-in? And the point what I wanted to say, maybe this is where the last 5 minutes of my presentation I'll spend, is what is that IBM has done to address all these concerns that we discussed so far. And also I want to make a point to say that while we talk about AI is the brain, hybrid cloud is the muscle, or you talk about your spine, right? You have to build a solid foundation to be able to infuse AI in everything that you do, right? Your solid foundation is what? You need compute, you need data management, you need security governance, and many things more, right? So you need a solid foundation to be able to scale, right? Now, what IBM has done in recent time, many people know IBM as a company of mainframe and large infrastructures, right? But today's IBM, if you look at, it is close to 50% of our portfolio today. Maybe you would say, hey, this is not a time for portfolio discussion. Today's IBM, close to 50% of our offering is around data and automation, around software. Another 20 or 30% is around consulting, so that if anybody requires industry expertise, you'll get it. And then you wonder, why is that required? Because if you say, IBM stronghold has always been BFSI. Even today when I go to speak to any of our clients, they say, oh, you only play in BFSI. Do you really talk about manufacturing, automobile, this and that and everything? But that's the perception has been because the legacy of the work that we have done last 40, 50 years, right? So that work is still there with our consulting business. And then last 20% is our infrastructure, which we're talking about, whether it is mainframe, it's about open hybrid cloud systems, and IBM Cloud. But what we also done is we also created everything around the software, all the infrastructure, all these are infused with AI. And the AI portfolio that we talk about, the branding is watsonx. So we have watsonx.ai, where people can train, deploy AI models. And our approach to the AI has been open. No proprietary models and stuff like that, right? That's the approach we have taken. And then also we have watsonx.data, where you talk about open data lake architecture, so that it's not really confined to a closed architecture, the open data lake architecture. And third one is the critical one, all your speakers were talking about, is around governance, the guardrails. So that we call it as watsonx.data. So 3 pieces of watsonx: .ai, .data, and .governance. And these things, what we try to do is anything and everything that we offer into the market, we try to infuse the AI into it. All the software that we have, data softwares, around automation softwares and stuff like that. The other critical piece of is the way we deliver it is open hybrid cloud. That is exactly why IBM acquired this company, Red Hat, 3 or 4 years back under the leadership of Dr. Arvind Krishna when he came in 2020 timeframe, right? So the company we acquired, Red Hat, is to create an hybrid cloud architecture. What does it mean? You can deploy or develop any applications wherever you want. It could be in IBM Cloud, it could be in Azure, it could be in Google, it could be all on premises. But as long as you're creating on a platform called OpenShift, which is a Kubernetes platform, you have the capability to move wherever you want. And because it's Kubernetes, it's microservices architecture, you can scale, and security and everything is inbuilt into it. So that's what IBM's point of view is around hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud platform is OpenShift. And OpenShift can run anywhere, including IBM's own hardware architectures, including our Linux one, which is pervasive encryption. I think earlier also there was concerns about around quantum safe encryptions and stuff like that, and around concerns around how do we manage security. Right? The other thing, we will have one stall outside wherein we'll talk about how IBM also enabled in the hardware to be able to detect any kind of security threat. Security is another layer, and it's also a team game, right? You'll have lots of security software to prevent threats and stuff like that. But how do you still have capability in the hardware to be able to detect any kind of threat which is coming in? So in the NIST framework, if you know, there are 5 pillars, right? It's identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. And most recently, something has been added called govern, the 6th pillar. So what we're trying to do in this case, we have built the products. Take an example. We're talking about the products where the data resides, data storage products. And we have created specialized products wherein the AI has been inbuilt to be able to detect if there is an anomaly or if there is a potential cyber threat. And it works in tandem with the rest of the security software to be able to detect as quickly as possible. In fact, we're talking about less than 60 seconds to be able to detect if there is a cyber threat, if there is a potential anomaly which is happening. And if such a threat is happening, we also maintain an immutable copy which cannot be modified in the primary storage array itself. That is how we will be able to build the resiliency or the operational resiliency into the infrastructure. If there is a compromise, if your security perimeter is being compromised, you would be able to restore back to your minimum viable organization as soon as possible. Not in many days. In general, industry average is something around 23 days. We can recover the minimum viable organization is less than a day. That's the guarantee IBM can offer. So that's the kind of, I think it's just a glimpse of the security features which are inbuilt into the product, right? So this is what we have been doing in IBM to be able to create a solid foundation to develop or to infuse AI into everything that you do. All right? And the one last thing before I wrap and will be free for lunch is today, if you look at, I think many of you are, anyway, almost all of you are from financial market, right? I'm pretty sure all of you will have some of the IBM infrastructure into it. I'm pretty sure about it, right? Whether it's about mainframe computers, whether it's about a very highly secure power systems, or IBM, highly secure storage systems to be able to store the data, right? One thing what IBM has been constantly doing is improving the governance capability of it, or around also ESG, because that is another aspect of it, right? How is the sustainability metrics of the organization? How would you be good with the environment, right? How we can do something. Today, take an example, a GPU takes huge amount of power that we all know. IBM Research very recently came up with an adapter which can be 80% more efficient to do inferencing. Not for training. Training, NVIDIA is fantastic, no doubt about it. But not everybody really does AI training. But when it comes to inferencing, do I really require a high powerful GPU for it? Or can I do the inferencing in mainframe processor itself? Or can I do inferencing using a auxiliary card to be able to competitive? Do I really require a large model or a small model? So IBM does all this kind of trade-off to be able to come up with solution which is good for the climate because of the energy and most secure and agile platform for it. And for that, we have two things. When it comes to hybrid cloud, it is OpenShift as the platform, right? And when it comes to AI, which is again open, trusted, governed, and that is what is called IBM Watson X. All right? With that, I'll take it up, and thank you so much for your time and attention. Appreciate it. Thank you.